Suit of Cards, a radio drama told through letters. Episode 1, The Hierophant. The Hierophant, a card that symbolizes in the upright position tradition and conformity. However, when reversed, meaning changes, it begins to symbolize peer pressure, confusion, and breaking from convention. April 1852.
Dearest Lottie, I sincerely hope you keep this in the utmost confidence. I do not wish for Uncle or Auntie Price to find these correspondences, as I fear they will force me back home. I am safe and well content with my new life as a traveling man. I work where I can, finding employment, doing the most menial of labors. Nothing befitting a person of our stature, of course, but this is quite satisfactory as the constables are looking for noblemen, who I desperately hope will ne'er find. I do love you, my dear sister, and did not mean to run so far. With love, Ace.
May 1852.
Dear Ace, I was surprised to receive this correspondence as I thought you had left me forever. But I must write swiftly as I am being watched. Mother and father are worried I may also run. You may have ran off, but you may still call them mother and father, and not aunt and uncle. They would still want you to. They love you even if they cannot understand the reason of your swift departure. I can barely understand your reasoning myself. Either way, I'm glad you are safe and that you are keeping your nose clean. Hopefully, you may be able to return home soon, as it seems that the Bennets are not as upset as mother and father. In fact, your betrothed's father, Mr. Bennet, jests that you're on, as he states, one last jaunt as a bachelor. Though they do not seem to realize that you have no intention of jaunting, as it is put, or marrying Miss Bennet, though she seems a pleasant girl. Do not wander long, brother. This house feels empty without you. Your loving sister, Little Lottie.
July 1852.
Dear Lottie, now formalities aside, Lottie Elizabeth Marie Emery. I have no intention of marrying anyone. As we all know, that requires certain unsavory activities I would rather never take part in. As for a man of my stature, a childless marriage would be heavily frowned upon, and I do not wish for any lady to go through such ridicule on my behalf. Furthermore, I fear I shall, in all probability, never return, for it would have me be walking into a life that is like the displeasure of a noose around a pirate's neck. Though the criminal's noose is one of cheap rope, and mine would be a silver ring. As to your other point, I will not call them mother and father, as I still remember our real parents. I do not mind if you wish to call them such, but I shall not. You were a baby when the fever took them, but I was a young man at the time. Mother and father, as you call them, were not there for me like they were there for you. But I do recall their shadows cast long. Be safe. They have eyes everywhere. With love, Ace.
August 1852.
Dear Ace, my dear brother Augustus, may I remind you, through the extensive education we have received, that you have learned to communicate with a more civil tongue. Furthermore, I do detest being spoken to in such a regard. However, for now I will disregard your rudeness, as I have pressing news to deliver. Mr. Bennet, under the impression that you have been met with a dire end, or hardship, has married his daughter to another. You may remember him from your schooling, Gregory Hopkins. If I remember correctly, you did not get along and ended up in quite a few rounds of fisticuffs. I am with woe that dear sweet Elizabeth Bennet had to marry such a brute, and hope she never feels his irritability, the way your nose once did. May God be merciful to her, and time have mellowed him. I do miss your guiding presence here, and I hope one day the winds and God turn you back in my direction. Please respond swiftly. Your loving sister, Little Lottie.
Thank you for listening. This has been Suit of Cards. If you want to listen again, or if you are just tuning in, you can tune in to KLRP at 91.1 on Mondays and Wednesdays at noon, 4:30 and 6:30. or you can go to our website at theatreofthemindcompany.webs.com. Theatre spelled Theatre. Farewell until the next letter.